All right, everybody. So today, Apex Training, we are presenting Get Ahead While Staying Put. And what I want you to know is the best steps that you guys can take to come out on top after all this is over, whether it be in a couple of weeks or a couple of months. I've compiled a whole bunch of different strategies. I think there's 8 different sections that we're going to cover today on ways that you can attack right now instead of playing defense. Play some offense and make sure you get out ahead of this thing. So what we are going to do first is show you one of my favorite pictures of me. This was taken Wednesday, actually. I'm still that size, and I was so bored in quarantine, I had to sit in a pan. So I want to keep trying to provide you entertaining photos of myself. So if you get nothing out of this, at least you get a good laugh. A little bit about Apex Training. We are powered now by 3 title companies: Trident Title, Performance Title, and Synergy Title, and we continue to grow. So the only way that we get to do this is with continued support from you guys. So thank you all for being on and sending us your deals. Deals are still pouring in, which is great. Real estate is still moving, which is awesome. So thank you all for that. We appreciate it. All of our fantastic sales reps are on the call. So we have Dave Ward, Gab Bryce, Melissa Kidwell, Tracy Cinder, myself. So if you need anything after this, let us know. All right, here we go. Number 1, so the first section we're going to talk about today is database. And what you need to know is that in times of crisis, the value of a database really goes up. And what I am thinking is that after today, I'm hoping the value of my database doesn't go down, because I have been a little stir crazy and I've thrown in some really corny, cheesy jokes in here today. So you guys got to bear with me and hopefully laugh a little bit. So in times of crisis, the value of a database goes up. And what this means is that before, when people didn't have 8 million things going on and they were using their normal life to actually do work and be out and about in the marketplace, they weren't paying attention as much and they weren't worried as much about who was in their database. However, now, while a lot of people are sitting at home and figuring out what to do and where they can get help, the value of a database really goes up. So if you haven't been working on that, now is the time to start. And we're going to go through a couple things, important database things here. If you've never read this book, it's called The Membership Economy. It's really a fantastic book. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't read it. I listened to it on Audible because I'm not the best sit down and read kind of guy. However, it's a fantastic book. And one of the big questions in this asks something that Gary Keller has asked in his top 100 that I've been able to hear and be a part of, is what would it take for someone to pay a membership fee to be in your database? What value do you have to deliver to make somebody want to pay $9 a month to be on there, $14 a month, $100 a month even? What would they do? What would you have to do to really give enough value every single month that you think people would pay to be a member of your database? And I know we all do different things for our database, but the days of just one set it and forget it drip email a month are not cutting it. We have to be able to provide value at a high level so that they think, oh my God, I need to be in this database and I want to be a part of this. So what I want you to start thinking of is, what value are you adding to your database right now while you're sitting at home? And a lot of our friends and family and coworkers and database are sitting at home as well. What kind of value are we adding that it's worth them to be a part of your database, that it's worth them to be in your social media groups, that it's worth it for them to get emails from you daily, weekly, monthly? What kind of value are you adding? So when you guys leave this, I want you to ask yourself that question. I really want you to write it out and think of all the people that I'm working with in my database, all of my clients, past clients, present clients, future clients. Am I adding value to them, or am I just sending them junk mail? I really want you to think about that. I think it's a really powerful question. And if the only thing you guys got out of this was at the end of this, you asked yourself that and it helped you add value, I think you would be on the right track. So next is, now it is time to cleanse your database one contact at a time. We need to go back through there and clean out the junk and figure out who's who and make a touch on every one of these people. So a lot of the people that I coach with and that I help train, one of the things that I do is I like to assign them some kind of a task so that they can really attack the database in a strategic way. And usually what I do is I tell them that every week we're going to pick 2 letters in our database. The reason for that is there's usually 13 weeks in a quarter, or there is 13 weeks in a quarter. And if we do 2 letters every single week, we're going to hit 26 letters in a quarter, which is our entire alphabet, our entire database every single quarter. So think about a way that you can go through now and maybe even ramp that up and go through one at a time, update contact information, update data, give them a call, check in on them, see what's going on. Next is regroup. So find a way to actually regroup this database and set it up in a way that you know is going to produce you some value on the other end of it. So it's now time to look back through this pile of people that we have, whether we have them in our phone or in our social media, or in a contact management system or whatever company we work for. If they gave us something, now is the time that we need to go back and look at that and think, okay, how do we regroup this database? For many of us, we have either way too many groups or no groups at all. So some of us have 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 different groups in our database, and some have none. We just have piles and piles and piles and piles of people in one spot. So we need to look at that and think, okay, what can we do? Some key ones would be past clients, current database. It could be past buyers, past sellers, current or active or pipeline buyers and sellers. We need to look at this and think, how do we group them so that we can strategically attack them? Next, create a save money list for your people. Come up with something that is a valuable piece that you can send out and help them to figure out what they need to do to save money. So go through some of the different apps that help them cancel subscriptions. Maybe teach them how to actually go on their phone, look at all the subscriptions that they have coming just on your phone. If you have an iPhone, I'll tell you, one of the things that was so amazing to me was looking at all of my subscriptions, which you can do through your Apple ID, and seeing all these little things that you had paid for, maybe at $2.99, $3.99 a month, $9.99 a month, $14.99 a month. And you look at it, and every month it adds up and over $100. So think about all these ways that we can help them save, and that is a way to add value to that database. This script, I want you to write this down, or these 3 scripts. This is what I want you to be asking your database. If you're out there in the world working on the database and you're calling people and talking to people and you just flat out have no idea what to say, just keep these 3 in mind. So even if this person isn't a current client, you have no idea if they're going to buy or sell in the next year, 5 years, 10 years, who knows? These are the 3 questions you're going to ask them. Number 1, what are you seeing out there, right? It's very broad. It's very general. It just allows them to talk. They're going to talk about whatever. Number 2, how do you feel about it? So a little bit of a therapist question, but just trying to figure out what is going on with them and how they feel about what's going on. And 3rd, how can we or how can I help? What can I do to help you in the situation that you're in right now? So 3 very simple scripts that you can add in. Next. Oh, sorry. Yeah, there we go. Okay, number 2, social media. Social media right now is going to be what takes you to the top of mind share. When we can't be out meeting people face-to-face at open houses or face-to-face at showings or going on lunch appointments or going on coffee appointments or doing buyer consultations or doing listing presentations in person, your presence on social media is going to be what helps create and raise your mind share. And what's going to happen is when people get through this, whether it's now and they're ready to transact business now or in the next short period of time, or if it's 6 months or a year, the mind share that you create now, you're never going to lose, because they're going to remember who the people were that not only kept them entertained, but kept them in their thoughts while they were going through this. So we need to now use our social media to do that. Alert, bad joke coming up. Now, I don't know if any of you know what this means, but this is a key social media strategy that I put into 2 very cheesy pictures, hopefully to make you laugh. This might even make somebody sign off the call right now, but I think it's funny. So if you have no idea, on the left side, that is the build emoji. I don't know why that is the build emoji, but that is the build emoji. And on the right, that is not 98 Degrees. It is not Backstreet Boys. That is NSYNC. So the strategy here is build and sync. Build and sync. And what we mean by that is now is the time to build out all your social media networks and sync them together so they have the same message, the same branding, and everything going on the same, so that when you look at them, people realize you're a real brand. You're taking this serious. This is something that is important to you, and helping them is important to them. So thank you for surviving my first horrible joke. Next is schedule your social media out for 30 days at a time. So while we're sitting around here with nothing to do, we have to look at our social media and think, what can we do to get ahead of it for the next upcoming 30 days? Think about this and really attack. Facebook is really fantastic with this, where you can schedule posts out for a long period of time. So top producing teams, top producing agents, what they're doing is they're crafting and creating content. And as they see something that they like, or they build something, or they come up with something, they start scheduling it out to put it out later in the week, later in the day, later in the month, so that every single day you don't have to be reminded that you need to get on social media and you need to do that work today. It's really important to get these things scheduled out so that you're always delivering content. Even if you're away or you forget for a day or something happens where you can't be in front of the computer, scheduling content And building that consistency is what drives people back to your social media. So it's very important to start getting content scheduled. If you have no idea what to come up with for content, in good news, we're doing a social media content challenge with all of you guys that everybody's going to be able to participate in for free starting in May. So that will be fun. And some good spots to look for content are, you can use the MLS even, the real estate boards all provide great content to put out as far as stats and what's going on in the market and numbers. There's a great program called Keeping Current Matters that does that pretty well. A lot of you I know are subscribed to, or a lot of the offices that we're in use that. So just start getting stuff scheduled out as far in advance as you can, ideally 30 days. So one thing to do with this content, like we were just talking about, and here comes another corny joke, by the way, is to join us for this first social media challenge. So we're going to do an Instagram challenge to help you guys build followers, build content, and get people and start bringing leads in on your Instagram when you ask, and I answer with, it's going to be May. As you now have figured out, I have been very stir crazy over this last little bit. So only one corny joke remaining, I promise. But make sure in May you pay attention and you jump on this with us. What we're going to do is we're going to release a tip or a strategy or something for all of us to do every single day for the entire month of May, which is really going to help us all together as a group be able to build our following and our traffic for our social media. And if you guys like that idea and it goes well, then we'll start doing that every single month so that we can add some value to you guys and help the people that are struggling with content or what to do. That picture and that meme cracks me up every time. I had to do it. All right, number 3, what to do with your current clients. The first thing is you need to make an as soon as this passes plan, meaning any current client you have, you're going to give them a call and talk to them and say, listen, when this is over, what is the first thing that we're going to do? And what can we do now so that we can strategize to get through this and that you guys will be able to have income coming in from those people as soon as possible, and you help them getting back to normal, moving on with their life as quick as you can. Last corny joke here, I promise. Video conference everyone in your pipeline every single week. So if you were wondering, that is Mario in a pipeline. We need to get on the phone with them face-to-face and see them once a week. A coach that I had earlier on in my career said one of the most important things you can do as a real estate agent or as a lender or as a title person is get in touch with your entire pipeline, meaning everyone that you have active, everyone that you have under contract, and everyone that you think is going to be a piece of business in the next 90 days, and talk to them every single week. And even if you have no update at all, absolutely nothing, it's important that you just get in front of them every single week and you make sure that they know that you care and they know that you're there to help them. We used to do ours every Tuesday. We just called it Team Tuesday. And every Tuesday we would run through all of our active transactions, all of our pending transactions, and just talk to every single one of them. So if they were active and nothing new has came up, if they're an active listing, no showings, we would even call them and just say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, it's Ryan over at XYZ Realty. I just wanted to let you know, now we've been on the market for 107 days. In this past week, we had no showings. We're still priced at X. Based on our market analysis, we think we should be at X minus 5%, whatever that number is. And we just wanted to keep you in the loop. Is there anything we can do for you? If not, perfect, move on. And anybody that you have actively looking or under contract, same thing. You're going to give them a call and just say, hey, here's where we're at. Just want to let you know we got our loan commitment, or we got through the inspection, or we did appraisal, or whatever. You're just popping in to let them know that you care and that you're paying attention. And right now, when they're not having interaction with anybody outside of most likely their immediate family, and some of them, some people at work, it's important that we get face-to-face with them. Give them a person-to-person, face-to-face update. Use one of these video tools. You can use Zoom. You can use Google Hangouts, Facebook Live, FaceTime on your phone, whatever. Just use something that's going to allow you to get face-to-face with them every single week. Next, list your buyers. This is the first step of solidifying the transaction. And what we mean by list your buyers is do a buyer consultation. Get them to sign a buyer loyalty agreement. Walk through the whole process. Do all the disclosures. All the stuff that you need to do anyway at some point. Do that. Get it out of the way up front and get them signed on to a loyalty agreement that you know if you're going to be spending your time with them through this, that they're going to be a piece of business down the line for you. And I know a lot of people get scared or get weird about doing this, but believe me, for them, it's the same thing. It's the same thing as if they wanted to work with an attorney or consult a professional. They're going to have to sit down with them and go over what the plan is and show that they're going to be loyal before someone is going to spend time, pouring into them, especially in a tough time when we're trying to find who that next lead is or who that next person is. So make sure you get them listed just like you would a seller. right? We know that we always do all this work for sellers. We'll go to their house, we'll take pictures, we'll do all the measurements, write up an MLS description. We don't do that without getting a listing agreement. So think of that, why we don't do that on the buyer side. Sometimes the buyers kind of get cheated and mistreated on that, and it's important that we do that. And it's going to help us down the line really solidify that transaction to be able to move forward and know that we're going to keep this thing together. Get all the financing in line, talk to the lenders, make sure they're still employed. Everything that's going to happen anyway, we want to do that up front so that we have the best opportunity possible to get them through a transaction for them and for us. Believe me, not only for us because we want to earn, but for them also. They don't want to get to the 11th hour and then have everything fall apart. So list your buyers and solidify the transaction. All right, another key question I really want you to ask yourself with every person in your pipeline: what is the one thing I am not doing that if I were, I could get this person under contract this week? And I want you to run through your entire client list. And what I really want you to think of is just jotting this out in a list form. Write Joe Smith, dash buyer, and then this question right next to it. What are you going to do? Steve Smith, seller, this question. What do you need to do? And you need to think what you need to do as their professional. You have a fiduciary agreement to these people that you were going to help them and be in their best interest and work for them. So think about this with every client you have. Is there something that you can do today, tomorrow, now, this week that's going to help them get under contract? So for some of us, I know a lot of us are still frozen even with how to do virtual showings or open houses. Either go back and watch the last week's class when we did that. It's up on YouTube. Or next week, we're going to do a Facebook Live thing. Make sure you hop on that. We can't be frozen. We need to figure out right now. We need to act on what we can do now to help them get under contract. For a lot of people, they need to sell or they need to buy, and you need to be their professional right now. So I want you to list out for homework, if you want to call it that. And if you need help, text me or email me or call me or whatever. Write out every single client that you have, if they're a buyer or seller, and think of one thing you could do to push that transaction forward. How can you possibly get them under contract this week? For sellers, sometimes it's just a price drop, right? We know they're out of price. That's always the reason things don't sell, right? Is because of pricing. So sometimes it's just getting a price drop. But for some of us, it definitely is getting showings done or helping them understand their finances or figuring out what's going on in a certain neighborhood or learning an area. We need to figure out how we can do that and how we can do that now. Not only so we can earn, but also so they can continue on with their life. It's a big thing. Ask yourself that question. What is the one thing I'm not doing that if I were, I could get this person under contract this week? Next, do a virtual tour or virtual open house on every listing you have, no matter what. It doesn't matter if they are horrible, if they are something that's just going to be an investor scoop up, if they're foreclosed, if they're a short sale, if it's cluttered, if it's messy, it doesn't matter. We need to do something right now that is going to allow us to get these things out there in the world. Right now, at any one time, there's somewhere between 55,000 and 60,000 listings on the MLS. Still, when I was doing some research over the weekend, still only about 10% of them have anything virtual at all outside of what they've had in the past. So more than just pictures, only about 10% of them have anything. So if you want to compete and get a listing sold in this market, we need to make an effort, more now than ever, because it's harder for people to just book a showing and go see something. We should be doing virtual tours and virtual open houses every single day. If we have one listing, you should be doing one every day. If we have multiple listings, at least one of those should be held open every single day. I had a handful of friends of mine that were doing virtual open houses yesterday on Easter, and I know it's crazy and it's a family day and a holy day and whatever else, I get it. However, think about how many people were home yesterday with nothing to do. You know, it was a huge opportunity to get out there and get these things seen and get yourself in front of other people. So if you haven't done one now, go back and watch this class. We have it on YouTube that you can check out. You can email or text myself or Gab or Dave or Melissa or Tracy to get those links. Get on there, learn about how to do this, and get out there and actually do it. Right now, don't wait. It's Monday. Get on it. Get going today. I expect to see some virtual opens and showings by Wednesday this week. All right, next, past clients. This is a big one that I think a lot of us skip out on. Right now, I would go back to every past client, especially the ones that you had a good experience with, and request a review from every single one of them, whether it was an $800 rental or a $10 million sale. We need to go back. We need to pick one platform that we're going to work on. These are 4 of the most popular ones: the Google reviews, Zillow reviews, Real Satisfied is an MLS thing, or Facebook. pick whatever platform you're going to use. It doesn't matter to me, but pick one of those and get in touch with every single one of your past clients that you've ever done a deal with, even if it was 10 years ago, and get a review right now. This is something that you can do right now that's going to help your business, and it's something that they can do that is going to feel like they're helping your business as well and helping you. So it's a really easy connection. It's a real easy way to just make a call and just say that you're thinking about them and their house at 123 Main Street, and just wondering if you have the opportunity, or if you have a couple minutes, if you could leave me a review, as right now the reviews are key. So pick one of these platforms, get all your reviews on the same platform, and do that. Moving forward, I will tell you one tip that we always used to do is we used to bring a laptop right into closing with us. And while we're sitting around there doing nothing, if the transaction went good or if everything went well and they're happy, we would have them do the review right there while they're sitting at the closing table, because they have nothing else to do. They're waiting for funding anyway, and their peak excitement or misery is at that closing table. So it's either the best thing ever and they're so happy, or they're miserable. So if they're miserable, obviously we're not going to do it. But if they're good and they're happy, this is the time that we're going to do it right now, because the second that they leave there with those keys, no matter how great that experience was, no matter how good you were, it doesn't matter. It falls out of the top of their mind, because now they have to move and they have to paint and they have to get their kid registered for school and set up the cable and the internet and the utilities and figure out what they're going to eat tonight and unpack boxes. And the last thing they care about, once that thing is closed and they have keys, is giving their real estate agent a review or their mortgage lender a review. So we need to look at that now. This is a perfect time to go back through every transaction and do that. And if you have no idea how to even find those, ask whoever does the accounting or the books or pays your commission at whatever office you're at, because they'll have a record of every file that you ever close. And you can go back, get all of those, see how money was dispersed to you, and then you'll have that address so you can look at. Next, investor clients. This is a big one. I've been doing this myself now, reaching out to people that are still in the flip game and in the long-term investment game with me, and finding out, are they still in the market? Yes or no? A lot of things have changed in a month, right? People's financial situations have changed. Their businesses have changed. Some of them have lost their businesses. However, other people realize that right now there's a huge opportunity, and they're getting in the game. They're getting off the bench. They're getting off the bleachers, and they're getting in the game right now. So if I were you guys, if I had an investor list or anybody that ever said they would buy a house cash or they're into flips, I would call them right now. And I would say, hey, how are you? What's going on? How do you feel about the market out there right now? Are you still looking to invest? And if they say, yeah, I'm thinking about it, great. How much? What is it going to take to get you to buy a property this week? What return are you looking for? What time frame are you looking for? What area are you looking for? Do you have a plan? Are you looking for multifamily right now? Are you looking for fix and flip? Are you looking for people that might now be on the verge of short sale or foreclosure when this comes out? You're looking for certain areas. What can we do to get you a deal today? 55 to 60,000 homes in the MLS. There are deals out there every single day to be had. And anyone that's ever told you that they're an investor, now is the time to do it. Number 6, now is the time for systems. Couple systems you should build. Number 1 is a farming system. And a lot of people think farming is always only just geographic, and that is not the case, especially now. Sometimes it can be psychographic or demographic based, where we look at this and think, okay, is there a group that has shared interests? Is there a set of people that are looking for certain things? People that are looking for second homes or golf course homes or investment properties, first-time home buyers, or 55-plus HOPA buyers. Or what community or what area can we farm physically and geographically? A certain neighborhood, a certain school district. What can we do right now to build a farming system that we can start putting into play right now? So some of my friends that are farming at a real high level now, a lot of their stuff has switched to adding value to the database, and what they're doing in their farm or what they're building a farm area around right now. I'm telling you, agents that are building the farm areas right now are going to come out on this thing on the other side and be so much stronger because they built it in a hard time instead of building it in an easy time. And a lot of them, they're going through their farms right now with things about where people can get toilet paper and where they can get food, and what restaurants are still open, and what activities or what things you can do, or what's going on with schools, or what's happening with the trash schedules and mail, all these different things, just providing value of questions that people are asking or that they're looking for in the area. A good way to find this out is just look on things like Nextdoor or on neighborhood or community Facebook groups and see what questions people are asking the most, or what you see getting asked on your Facebook feed or your social media feed, and use that as information to be able to bring back to your farm. Pick a certain farm that you can work, build it, start it small, but build it now, and you can grow pretty rapidly. Most of us don't have too much to do outside of sitting in front of the computer right now. This is a huge opportunity to grow. Next, your follow-up system. What does it look like when a lead comes into your world? If you get a message, if you get a text, if you get a call, an email, an inquiry on a website, what does that follow-up look like? Most realtors, their biggest failure point is right here, the follow-up system. They don't have a system in place. They just wing it. Meaning if someone comes in on realtor.com, they see the email and maybe they respond to them one time. And then if they don't answer, not that they want to forget about them, but they just do, because in general, people get 600 emails a day. So it just gets slid down the list. Right now is the time to build out your follow-up plan. We used to have one that we called the 10 days of pain. And it was literally 10 days of pain. Anytime a new lead came in, they got dropped on a system that was automatic that made sure that they got 10 touches in the first 10 days. So they would get a phone call, a text, an email. We would try to find them on Facebook, on Skype, on the free people search sites, try to message them on Facebook, then go back, call them again, text them again, email them again, send a smoke signal, send a carrier pigeon, whatever you need to do to get in front of these people and follow up. If they reached out and they raised their hand, especially at a time like this right now when leads are harder to come by, if they raise their hand, they have some sort of interest. And if we close them and if we earn money for our family on them, is strictly up to this slide right here. Do we have a follow-up system in place? And if not, now is the time that we need to build that. Start it small, but we need to build that. A good follow-up plan is very aggressive in the beginning. So, up to the first 2 weeks is very aggressive. And then it slows down a little bit, but there's still multiple touches a month forever. If you've never seen Wolf of Wall Street, first of all, it's a great movie, but one of my favorite things in that is when a guy asks how many times he should call somebody back, and Leonardo DiCaprio says, until they buy or they die. So think about that when you're developing follow-up plans. Next, a virtual showing and or open house system. If you've done one so far, I just want you to write in the chat, I have, or I've done one, or yes, or me, or something like that. If you've done a virtual showing or a virtual open house or both, I just want you to write that in the chat that you have done one of those. And I want you to think about it. If you have actually done it, meaning you've done at least one of them, maybe more, but if you've done at least one of them, did you just go out there and wing it and throw something together on Friday afternoon so that you can get something out and on the internet on Saturday? Or did you have some kind of a strategy where you can look back at that and say, okay, I took these steps, maybe it was 5 steps, and these are the results I got. I got X number of people that showed up, X number of comments, Y number of engagements, and Z number of leads. If you have that, where you looked at that for the very first time that you did it, I want you to go back and think, how can I 10X that? If you've ever read Grant Cardone, is a fantastic entrepreneurial mindset, real estate kind of author. There's a book called The 10X Rule, and I'll skip you having to read the book if you want. Basically, it's just everything that you're doing. If you want to make more money, 10X it. So multiply it by 10 and think, what can I do that's going to make this thing 10 times better, 10 times stronger, 10 times faster, 10 times more efficient, whatever it is that you're working on. Think about that for these systems. So if your first virtual open house system was posted on Facebook on Friday, send out 1 email on Saturday morning, and then do the virtual open on Sunday, and that yielded 4 people and 1 lead, great, at least you did something. That's a good start. Now, when we're planning this out for next weekend, so now until this Sunday, we have 6 days coming up. We could make an event for it today. We could send the first email tomorrow. We could call our entire database Wednesday. We could text our whole database, not by the masses, individually on Thursday. We could do a Facebook Live promoting it on Friday. We could do a teaser video on Saturday, a reminder email Sunday morning, and then actually do the Facebook Live Sunday afternoon for this virtual showing and open house. If you did that, you definitely ramped up your system, and you're going to look at that and think, okay, well, we did the first one and got this many people. Now this next one with all these added steps, I'm going to get more. And you can build and build and build and be able to build a system that improves. So keep that in mind. Next, number 7, being the hyper-local expert. We need you to show up as the hyper-local expert. And what that means is think about what you can do in the hyper-local community, meaning right where you live, that can actually make a difference or make some kind of an impact. I see a lot of people all the time trying to be the realtor that services from the southern tip of the Keys all the way up to Jacksonville, and that's fantastic. But most of us are not at the level where we're going to be known across that whole area. It's very rare to be known that way. Most athletes or people that the public know a lot about are not even known in that far of a range. So I want you to think how you can start small. Can you start on your street or in your community or in your subdivision or in your little niche and become the hyper local expert there and then grow? Especially in an area like South Florida where people come to us from all over the world, there's a ton of value in doing this. One of the ways we want to do this is make sure we're spotlighting open businesses. So think about right now what's going on. How many businesses are open? Probably only 50% of them, right? Do something to support and spotlight those businesses and help get that out to your farm or your community that we talked about earlier. I love this idea. Create or join an essential business owner networking group. So what if you created a networking group for your area or maybe your town or your city or your database that was all the essential businesses, and you put all those together and you had a call every week, Monday at 8 a.m. for all these people, all the business owners, all the employees, and you got them together and figured out what you're going to do to help get each other through until next week where you can continue on and keep pushing. Come up with something together that allows you guys to bound together, build a sense of community now in the tough times, because when we get out of this and we get past this, it's going to be stronger than anything else from everybody else that's just sitting around at home doing nothing. Create this networking group today. Pick your 5 best support vendors or other allied resources that you work with. Figure out who's essential, who's still open, and what you guys can do as a group to help keep each other going. Next, now is the time to do your Google business profile. I've looked some of you up before, and like 85 or 90% of you don't even have that yet at all. Think about that now. Google business is huge. This is so when people search in a certain area, you can be found across all different devices. You can actually show your business on the map, what you do, and this is your chance to share information about your business, not somebody else's. So you get the opportunity to build your profile, how people find you. It's a really great tool that Google offers. It's been around forever, and they even have people cold calling and trying to sell it, even though you can do it for free, because nobody does it. So build that, create that today. Your business, by the way, is your real estate team or your brand name. You're not doing your offices unless you're the broker or the owner or manager or something. You're doing your individual business. So Joe Smith, lender at whatever, Chase, or, team home sales at XYZ Realty, whatever you are, build out that business. And your address, just for legal advice, is whatever your broker address is. All right, number 8, last but not least, lead generation. Everybody's favorite, I know. I want you to ask yourself this question: what would make lead generation more enjoyable? I will tell you, for me, is if the phone rang to me, meaning people called me instead of me having to call them. I don't know about anybody else, but one of my least favorite pieces of when I was actively selling real estate was having to pick up the phone every day and call people I didn't know to try to drum up business. And if any of you share that, which I would imagine a couple people do, but if any of you share that, this is going to be the first class that we do in May. It's going to be all different ways to make the phone ring coming in your way instead of it being outbound. So that'll be the first Monday in May. But ask yourself this as a challenge, right? If you knew today my business relied on me making 100 outbound phone calls, what does it look like, or what do you need to do to have the phone ring 100 times? Instead of you having to pick it up and dial it 100 times. What can you do to make it ring 100 times? So this could be a giveaway. It could be having some piece of valuable information that they can only get if they call you. Access to something only if they call you. There's validity in being something exclusive or having something exclusive. We have to come up with what that is. Call you for the restaurant list. Call you for the list of where to go for the unemployment checks or the stimulus package or all these things. Come up with a way right now that's going to help people to call you. And as we get through this, think about how you can always have something that people need to call you for. Next, call every single FSBO expired and canceled listing right now. I would get on the phone and call every single one of them and look at that and find out if they really need to sell. Now is the time where they need help. More than ever, right? Think about the FSBO that took 3 pictures on their flip phone and threw them up on Zillow and is trying to sell right now. They're the people more than ever that needs help. Think about the expireds, and not just, the expireds of today. Think about expireds of the last 6 months when not as many people are listing and there's not as much demand. Think about the buyers that are in the market right now. They are serious. So get in touch with those expireds and those canceled and find out if you can get them back on the market now, even if it's a short-term listing where you can do virtual tour, virtual open house, and get them out in the world, because the buyers that are out there are serious. People are not just wandering around looking at houses for the heck of it or for fun on off days or on the weekend anymore. They're doing it because they absolutely need housing. So if they need housing right now, it is a good time for sellers to be on the market for sure. Next, this is my favorite one. I hope this adds some value and some income to all of you guys. And if you get nothing else out of this call, I think there's a huge opportunity here that I know only a small percentage of people are going to do. Call every single vacation rental, short-term rental, and expired rental you can find, because they are struggling right now. I don't know if you're aware of this, but Florida denied anybody to do any more short-term rentals or vacation rentals or Airbnbs or VRBOs. Now, is it still happening a little bit? Of course, because people are doing it under the table and, off the books and off the records. However, most of them are not. And this is a huge opportunity right now to track some of these people down and find them. Do everything you possibly can and say, listen, maybe now is the time to not have the short-term rentals because they're not allowed. It's the time to do an annual rental listing or to sell that thing and get out of it. There's going to be plenty of speculators who think that the Airbnb market is going to be great on the other side. So there's a huge opportunity to sell some of these things now. The good thing also with these properties is a lot of times they're fully furnished, they're fully staged, they're turnkey. All you need to do is walk in there with your toothbrush and your clothes and you have an operating property. So a lot of times these are really great to photograph. They're really great to do video and virtual tours on because they look good. We know they're vacant because we can't have any of these things occupied right now. So there's a huge opportunity right now. I would get on Airbnb and in the MLS and find every single property that you can that was short-term rental or vacation rental, and I would hit every single one of them. That would be my 100 calls a day until I ran out. And between these three sources, it would probably take you at least a week to run out. So I think there's a huge opportunity there that someone's going to reach out and grab and make a ton of money on. So in summary, where to focus your time and energy to make sure that you are getting ahead while you are staying put. Number one, your database, most important. Number two, social media. Number three, your current clients. Number four, your past clients. Number five, your investors. Number six, systems. Number seven, emerging as the hyperlocal expert. And number eight, ramping up your lead generation efforts. So if you haven't already, start learning from us on Facebook and on YouTube. Find us at Apex Training. And if you have any deals, please send them over to us at Trident Title and Performance Title and Escrow.